Hi, everybody. It is November 3rd, Wednesday. I just did a COVID test. They sent somebody over from the Kelly Clarkson show because we have to be tested 48 hours before the show. So I got to spit in a vial and send it back for being checked. I'm sure it's fine because we were just checked for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and all that crap. Also wanted to say it was really fun hooking up with everybody yesterday on the live stream. That is something I so look forward to every 2 weeks. And it's such a remarkable community that's evolved out of this. Such cool people. And I've never in a million years would have thought something like this would have happened, especially with the advent of COVID and all of that. And I am getting ready. I just loaded up another box of books. I'm going to run real quickly to the post office, have a couple of t-shirts and books to drop off, then come home and load my gear and get ready to head down to the Coach House in San Juan Capistrano for our first gig with the immediate family tonight of our run. It's really going to be fun. I'm really excited about it. It's been too long since we've been able to do this. We'll have to like dust off the cobwebs here, but I'm sure it's going to be great. And musically, I had a strange thing happened to me, and it evolves around this artist I'm going to do today. It was a kind of a unique big circle. I got called to do a project back in 1995 with an artist named Steve Kowalczyk. And he's an artist that Ahmet Erdogan and Shane Keister were producing. We cut his album at Ocean Way Studios here in Hollywood. And when I arrived, Ahmet said, "Can you play upright on this stuff?" And I said, "No." I said, "It's been a long time since I've really dug into upright. I have one, but it's not one that would record well or anything like that." So I said, "Look, I'll tell you what, I've got an old Washburn AB45 acoustic bass, 5-string, that at one point I was going to throw this thing out. It just sucked. It was not a good bass. I don't know what the problem was, but on a whim, before getting rid of this bass, I pulled the frets out of it and filled the frets, the slots where the frets had been, and the bass came to life. And I've used it on a number of things. So it's a 5-string fretless that I use black tape wound strings on, and it has a lovely sound. I used it on Willie Nelson's Great Divide album, lots of different projects. Because people always ask me, "Do you ever play fretless?" Well, fretless to me has a very distinct personality, and it can either really make a track or it can distract on a track. And I tend to use fretless sparingly. But on this project, I said to Ahmet, I said, "Look, let me get that bass and see what you think. And if that works for you, great, we'll do it. And if not, then we'll have to figure something else out or get somebody else in to do the bass parts." And I brought it in, and they loved it. They thought it sounded great. It was perfect for the project. So we went in and we cut a whole pile of tracks, but there were 2 songs left that I felt they really needed upright bass. And this was when the great John Patitucci was still living in Los Angeles and hadn't moved back east. So I said, "I'll tell you what, let me call John, see if he's available. And if he is, then I'm off the clock and I'll hang out here and we'll get John down here." And John was available, called him up. And so he came down and just burned these 2 tracks, did a great job because he's just a monstrously great player. And it gave us an opportunity just to kind of hang out together. I really like John. He's just good people and just an incredible musician. But finding any of this stuff was really hard. I only found 1.5 tracks from this album on YouTube. One song is called Buttercup, and then there was like a 28-second demo, kind of demo length version of the track we cut called Mr. Personality, which was a great song. I was so sad that when I saw Mr. Personality pop up that the complete track wasn't there. But the thing where this all gets kind of weird was I was back in Boston with Judith Owen playing a gig, and I invited Steve Bailey and Victor Wooten came to the show, and we were hanging out afterwards, and they said, "What are you doing tomorrow?" And I said, "Well, we have a day off and we're heading to New York for the next show." And they said, "Can you stay and we'll throw together like a kind of a clinic master class over at Berkeley for you?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I guess that'd be no problem. I mean, it's not a big deal to change the travel." So the next day I went over to Berkeley, and I walked into this room, and there was like 200 bass players in here. And I talked and I played some things, and somebody asked me a question about, how do you feel if like you don't feel you're absolutely the right guy for a track or something like that? And I said, really, at the end of the day, the most important thing is the project. Now, whether I play it or somebody else plays it is almost incidental. It's whoever's best for the job and what makes the thing turn out the best at the end of the day. And so I told a story about doing this Steve Kowalczyk record and saying, that I got through almost all of it with this Washburn bass, but that I contacted John Patitucci for these other tracks because it was important for the record. And then I said, and then we get to this point where I said, "Any questions?" And this guy raises his hand, and I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "That was my album." And it was Steve Kowalczyk. And I think he's on staff at Berkeley. He's changed his name. His name is now Steven Santoro. And he's still recording, and he's got great stuff up on YouTube. But it was just the weirdest thing to tell this whole story. And this was years later, many, many years after I would say 95, 2005, probably 20 years after we did this album. There he is sitting in the audience and hearing the story about his project and then saying, "It's me, I'm here." So we hooked up a little bit after that, and it was really fun to talk to him. But I'm going to go ahead and play these two things just to give you a taste of this. This was great. I'll play the Mr. Personality thing. It's only 28 seconds long. Why they didn't put the whole track on, I have no idea. But it's myself and Carlos Vega on drums, Dean Parks on guitar, Joe Porcaro on percussion, the great Nino Tempo from the old April Stevens and Nino Tempo days of the 60s. And he's a great sax player. And Alan Broadbent on piano, and Stephen singing. So here we go. This is just a tiny taste, but it was really a cool project. So here we go. At this point, it's Steve Kowalczyk, Mr. Personality.
How when they're around, oh, in cocktail conversation, you always pass the test. Your confidence loses, your credentials do the rest. Mr. Personality, oh, we all heard what you said, who you did in Tinseltown, and every boy you read.
That's all they have. Man, it was such an amazingly great track, the whole thing. But the one song they have is Buttercup on YouTube from this album. And the album was called Moods and Grooves. And it's from 1995. And on this track, it's myself, Carlos Vega on drums, Greg Wells on piano, Joe Porcaro on percussion and vibes, Dean Parks on guitar, Nino Tempo on sax, and the backgrounds are Steve and Kate McGarry. Yeah, and so here we go. This is called Buttercup. This was such a fun project. I hardly ever get called to play this kind of stuff, and so when I do, I really enjoy it. And this is using my Washburn AB45 fretless bass, 5-string.
I was knocking at the back door, looking through the window, never going nowhere, just waiting for rain. I was wishing I knew the milkman. I was looking for something for free. La 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 la. But baby, I had to leave. I knew it every time we kissed, that I'm sorry that I can't be with you for the fallen leaves. But I'm still in love. Oh, I'm in love. Cause the phone I still wanna say those funny things. And anyway, this one's for my buttercup. Someday we'll be waking up. We'll be waking up in a rented part of the yard, in a little town with spotted cows. Well, I wonder what I'm doing here, so far away. Now I'm just another part of this mess that we call LA. I'm waiting for that big man who's gonna take a chance on me. Hey, he's gonna take a chance on me while I put away my suitcase and I'm sleeping on a dream that I settled into this place. I hope it doesn't make me mean. Oh, and I'm still in love. Oh, I'm in love. And you know it every time I turn around. Lord, Lord, this one's for my buttercup. Oh, someday we'll be waking up. We'll be waking up in a rented part of the yard, in a little town with spotted cows.
Yeah, Dean.
This one's for my buttercup. Someday we'll be waking up. We'll be waking up out in a rented part of the yard, in a little town with spotted cows.
But I'll tell you, Carlos Vega kicks some serious butt on that track. Oh, I miss
The only
him.
thing that tastes better than a quarter pounder
The
with
hell
cheese is a free quarter pounder with cheese. Spend $15
You know
or more
what's
on
really
your McDelivery
strange?
order with
What's strange about that? I have no windows open, and that's coming out. I just looked, and everything's closed now, and that's going on. How weird is that? Ghost in the Machine. Where are the police when we need them? So that was great. So it's Steven Santoro now, but he at that time was Stephen Kowalczyk. And if you want to hunt around for that album, it's Moods and Grooves from 1995. And was a bunch of really great tracks on this album. It was really one of those ones where we were all just kind of smiling when we left the studio going, man, this is really good. And like I said, it was really great to see Patitucci and have him come in and kick some serious butt on the tracks that needed him. So I'm gonna run to the post office now with a bunch of more stuff to drop off, take care of a few errands, come back and load up my gear, and kind of focus on getting ready to head down to San Juan Capistrano to the Coach House and played some loud rock and roll tonight with my brothers. So take good care. Again, thank everybody for the wonderful clubhouse yesterday. Still getting ready to really do some serious blasting with my NFTs. I'm talking to Cliff Jones at LA Vintage Gear because he's just opened up a new location in Studio City on Ventura Boulevard. And I think the first week of December, we're going to do another book signing to inaugurate the new shop, which is like really great shop. He's got such great stuff. And hustle up some Christmas presents for people. I think the book would be a great Christmas gift for somebody who you really want to tweak them. It'd be really great. And lots of other little things going on. And I'm really excited about Friday. I'm going to do two episodes on Friday with Kelly Clarkson's show. I enjoyed that so much last time, so I'm tickled that they invited me back to sit in with the band again. And that's about it. So again, my thoughts and my heart goes out to especially all the people working in hospitals, not just doctors, nurses, administrative staff, the janitorial staff, everybody who's in that environment that is putting themselves in harm's way on a daily basis, but doing their job because it has to be done and to save people's lives. And they're amazing people, so thank you and all that good stuff. So I'm going to get running, and I will see everybody then tomorrow. I'll give you I'll fill you in on how the gig goes tonight, tomorrow. And if I have a chance, I'll grab some footage down there and post that. So till then, talk to you later. Bye-bye.